Everyone's heard of Rolex, the world-famous watch company. Rolex was founded a little over 100 years ago by Alfred Davis and Hans Wilsdorf. Since then, the company grew and became a standalone symbol of luxury. In other words, they became very, very expensive. Everyone knows that Rolexes are the world's most renowned and most expensive watches in the whole world. So in this video, we're going to discuss the top 10 most expensive Rolex watches. But before starting the video, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to never miss out on any of our videos. Number 10. Rolex Platinum Diamond Pearl Master, sold for $277,850. The limited edition Rolex Platinum Diamond Pearl Master was released in 2011 with a retail price of $277,850. The price has since dropped, and you can actually buy one if you're interested for the affordable price of $230,000. If you do buy one, here are some facts that you can brag about to your friends. The watch's dial is made of meteorite diamond, while the bezel shines so beautifully thanks to 42 baguette diamonds inside of it. The price is especially worth it when you consider that overnight shipping from Saint Blanc is included in it. Number 9. James Bond's 1972 Rolex Submariner, sold for $365,000. Yet another Submariner in our list of the most expensive Rolex watches ever sold. This one is the actual watch worn by Sir Roger Moore while playing James Bond in Live and Let Die in 1973. The watch was sold for $365,000 at a Phillips auction in Geneva in 2015. The watch was modified for the movie. In particular, the bezel was changed to look like a circular saw. It is used by James Bond in the movie to cut a rope. The watch's magnetic field is also used to unzip Miss Caruso's dress. The James Bond Submariner was so heavily modified for the movie that it doesn't tell time anymore. The back of the watch, however, was signed by Roger Moore. Number 8. Rolex GMT-Master 2 Ice, $485,350. This Rolex GMT-Master Ice is the watch that football superstar Cristiano Ronaldo wore during the 14th Dubai International Sports Conference. It is the most expensive new Rolex you could buy. It retails for $485,350, but its price might vary depending on the market price for diamonds at the time of your purchase. The Rolex GMT-Master 2 Ice is entirely covered in precious stones and made from white gold. The dial has an interesting wave pattern of diamonds and gold. The rest of the case hasn't been compromised by the in-house customization. You get all the same features and performance that the modern Rolex GMT2 delivers, including a waterproof case up to 100 meters and 50 hours of power reserve. The dial featured the classic GMT second hand to set a second time zone. Number 7. Jack Nicklaus Rolex DayDate, sold for $1.22 million. Rolex gave this yellow gold DayDate to legendary golfer Jack Nicklaus in 1967. He pretty much wore it every day since then. Jack Nicklaus, known as the Golden Bear, wore this Rolex when he won 12 of his record 18 professional major championship titles. The watch was also often photographed when Nicklaus hoisted the championship trophy following his victories. The yellow gold DayDate on a president bracelet is Rolex's most prestigious model and one of the world's most famous watches. This is the very first watch I ever owned and the only watch I wore for every professional tournament I've won throughout my career, Jack Nicklaus said. It has accompanied me at the US Opens, Masters tournaments, PGA championships, Open championships, and countless other events for over 5 decades, and has served me well at every step along the way. The watch sold for $1.22 million at a Phillips auction in December 2019. All of the auction proceeds went to Nicklaus's charitable foundation that cares for children in need around the world. Number 6. Eric Clapton's Rolex Oyster Albino Cosmograph Daytona, sold for $1.4 million. Eric Clapton's Daytona, dubbed the Rolex Oyster Albino Cosmograph, sold not once but twice for substantial amounts during public auctions. The first time was in 2003 in New York, where the watch was bought for $505,000 during an auction organized by Sotheby's. 12 years later, in May 2015, Eric Clapton's Daytona was sold once more, but this time for $1.4 million at a Phillips auction in Geneva, nearly 3 times its previous price. Besides its famous first owner, the Rolex Oyster Albino Daytona is special because only 4 pieces are available with the dial in a single color. The Daytona dial usually has 2 colors to make the chronograph totalizers contrast with the rest of the dial. Number 5. Marlon Brando's Apocalypse Now Rolex GMT-Master, sold for $1.952 million. This Rolex GMT Reference 1675, worn by Marlon Brando in the movie Apocalypse Now, was sold for $1.952 million at a Phillips auction in December of 2019. The auction, appropriately named the Phillips Game Changers event, saw the Rolex GMT-Master, manufactured in 1972, sell well above the expected price. Marlon Brando, an Academy Award winner, wore the watch on a black strap with its bezel missing. Francis Ford Coppola had indeed asked Brando to remove the bezel as it would stand out too much in the movie. The watch is also unique because Brando carved his name on its back. It sold after 15 minutes of intense bidding. Number 4. Antimagnetique Reference 4113 for 1942, sold for $2.5 million. The 1942 Antimagnetique Reference 4113 is the oldest Rolex on our list after selling for nearly $2.5 million during a Phillips auction in Geneva in 2016. It comes in an extraordinarily large case considering its production year at 44 millimeters. It is in fact the largest case ever built by Rolex. Only 12 examples of the reference 4113 are known to still exist today. The watch was initially produced as a gift to celebrate the victory of a racing team. Interestingly, this particular model had been sold just 3 years before, in 2013, for $1.16 million at Christie's. It's another example of the steep price increase for rare Rolex models. Number 3. The Rolex Bow Die, sold for $5.1 million. The Rolex Bow Die is unquestionably one of the most instantly recognizable models among watch fans. Based on the Rolex reference 6062, this watch was initially sold to the last emperor of the Nguyen dynasty in Vietnam in 1954. At the time, this was the most expensive model in Rolex's collection. The gold case and black dial were the rarest configurations available. Only 3 were ever produced according to Hodinkee. And this piece is the only one of the 3 to have diamond markers on the even hours. The Rolex Bow Die was sold for over $5.1 million at an auction at Phillips in Geneva in 2017. The watch had already been sold through auction before. The Nguyen family first sold it for $235,000 in 2002, which was the highest price ever paid for a Rolex at that time. Number 2. The 1971 Rolex Daytona Reference 626 Unicorn, sold for $5.9 million. Uniqueness and rarity explain the price of this 1970 Rolex Daytona that was sold for $5.9 million in 2018. The Reference 6265 is the only model available in 18-karat white gold, hence its Unicorn nickname. The vast majority of Rolex Daytona produced at the time were in stainless steel. Besides its precious material, the story of the watch is itself interesting. Few people had ever heard of it until it was announced in 2013 that famous Rolex collector John Goldberger had acquired the watch. Number 1. Paul Newman's Rolex Daytona, sold for $17.8 million. Paul Newman's Rolex Daytona is not only the most expensive Rolex ever sold, but it's also the most expensive watch ever sold in the world. It easily beat the previous record set by a 1943 Patek Philippe perpetual calendar chronograph that sold for $11 million in 2016. The opening bid for Paul Newman's Daytona started at $1 million, but was immediately raised to $10 million by the first bidder, stunning the entire auction room at Phillips. Only 2 bidders then fought for the watch to finally settle its price at $17.8 million. While relatively well preserved, this Rolex Daytona isn't particularly rare nor made from precious materials. But its unique story is what watch collectors are most interested in. It was given to Paul Newman by his wife, Joanne Woodward, while he was playing in the movie Winning. Thank you guys for watching. If you want more videos like this, make sure to like the video and hit the subscribe button, and we will see you in the next video.